In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Please be seated. Well, good morning. It's been a rainy week, hasn't it? I wonder which 30% of today will get the rain. Remember those rainy days, maybe when your children were young or when you were younger, and you pulled out the coloring books and the activity books, just looking for something to do? Well, I want you to know that coloring books are making a comeback, and they are for grown-ups as well. Anyone seen this trend? At every service, someone has said, "Oh yeah, got my new coloring book." It's a way, I think, of reducing stress, disconnecting from the media that pulls us, and connecting us with shape and color and creativity. I particularly like the activity book pages where you connect the dots. Remember those? And a picture of something emerged. I particularly like that because I cannot draw anything freehand. That phrase, connecting the dots, is one that we use, isn't it? We use it to help someone else to see the big picture. Let me connect the dots for you on that. I think today we have in the Gospel of Mark one of the clearest and most direct messages from Jesus, alongside of one of the most frightening and indirect messages. And Jesus is connecting the dots for us. The beginning of our passage today is Jesus predicting his death. And then the passage ends with clear instructions on how to live. Let me set the stage for Jesus' conversation with his friends. You'll remember at this point, Jesus and his disciples have been on the road for months. They are tired. Jesus was healing and teaching. Large crowds have been following them and getting to places before they do. Jesus fed these huge crowds miraculously. Next, remember that Jesus has done a lot of teaching along the road, but most of it has been in parables, short stories, hidden meanings, not literal. But now, here in the middle of Mark's gospel, we are starting the theological turn toward Jerusalem, toward the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus. 3 times, Jesus tells his friends about what we know to be true, that the Son of Man is to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him, and after 3 days, he will rise again. 3 times. Chapter 8, today in chapter 9, and again in chapter 10. The disciples are still hoping that this is some kind of a parable. They don't want this to be true. And they're afraid to ask him for an explanation. They revert to their self-centered wishes for the coming of the Messiah, and they argue about who will be the best friend of Jesus. N.T. Wright, our biblical commentator, has some compassion for these disciples. He observes that Jesus is finally talking to his disciples without parables, straight talk, and they're not used to that. So Jesus comes into the middle of this mess with some very direct talk and action. He connects the dots for the disciples. He turns and he takes a little child and places the child among the disciples. And he says to them, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." Now, these disciples were in a community that had not been especially good to women and less so to children. Scholars will say that the account of the feeding of the 5,000 counted only the men, not the women and children. According to the HarperCollins notes, the children are exemplars of powerlessness. They have no standing, they have no advocates. So for Jesus to place a child in their midst was another counter to the culture action and counter to the powers of that day. When Jesus puts the child in their midst and hugs the child, he's making the connection between the care for that child and seeing God. He is being very clear. Care for this child, this one right here in front of you. Welcome this child. And in welcoming this child, you will see me, says Jesus, and the one who sent me. This is one action that we are very familiar with at St. Paul's. Literally, at St. Paul's, we welcome children. This morning, our church school starts. We will commission our teachers at the end of the service. And we're going to give all of our third graders their own Bible. You know, in fact, we welcome children every day at St. Paul's. We have St. Paul's Day School, so if you're here at 8:30, you'll see the parents lining up. We welcome children and families through our Family Promise participation. Hosting dates are October 18th and November 15th. Make a note. We support over 300 children at the Bon Samaritan School in Bordeaux with our mission and outreach dollars. We will feed children when we gather for the food packing event on October 17th. More than 50,000 meals will be sent to Bon Samaritan School for those children and the children in the schools around them. We feed children here in Delray Beach through our support of Cross Ministries and the Caring Kitchen. We welcome children every day here at St. Paul's, in Paul's Place, our after-school program. And we're going to hear more about that in a minute. You welcome and care for children in ways that have changed the world around us. What I have just listed here is just what happens at St. Paul's. Then add the things I know you do for children. You teach, you parent, you heal, you work for the welfare of children, to mention just a few things that you do. You know, the thing about what we do in the world is that there is a direct connection between what we do in the world and what we do here on Sunday morning. We are not simply a people who gather for some prayers and some wonderful music every weekend. We gather with grace and authenticity because of what we do every other day of the week in the world around us. Liturgy is the work of the people. That's what the word means. And so the work that we do in the world is offered here. It's blessed, broken, shared from this table, and given back to us as grace, as peace, as the people of God. You know, we're blessed to do what we do in the context of the Episcopal Church. We have churches in our area that we collaborate with in our deanery and our diocese. We connect to other churches in the country through the National Episcopal Church. And our worldwide connection is made by our participation in the Anglican Communion. The impact of one thing that we do here has worldwide impact. From the children right here in our own community, to the children of refugees in Europe, to the children hungry in Bordeaux, you are making a difference. One of the ways that we fuel our action is by pooling our resources. As a connected church, we draw on the talents and resources of others. We have here in our diocese Episcopal Charities. It's the charitable arm of our diocese. And you probably noticed in your leaflets that today is Episcopal Charities Sunday. Episcopal Charities is really our partner in grace, transforming the lives of many all the time. Here's how it works. We take some of our common fund from the diocesan budget. Episcopal Charities has 2 wonderful endowments that they've been given and they manage. And individuals from different congregations are called to give to Episcopal Charities. And then Episcopal Charities turns around and makes a grant. In 2015, there were 30 grants to empower congregational outreach ministries. At St. Paul's, we've been blessed to receive a grant, and Kathy's going to speak to us about that in just a moment. Senior ministry and youth ministry at St. Matthew's, the food pantry up at Holy Redeemer in Lake Worth, Family Promise, since before Family Promise doors were open. Episcopal Charities especially loves to feed people. So when the hospitality people, our committee, saw that it was Episcopal Charities Sunday, Anne said, oh, we better have some healthy snacks out there. And so we will today. The gospel mandates this ministry of feeding and sheltering, caring for seniors. It takes both funding and experience, and we are grateful that Episcopal Charities provides both. We have one very clear example of that here at St. Paul's. And so I'd like to ask Kathy Fazio to join me up here and to tell you a little bit about this impact. Kath, come on over here. Come on over here. Come up here, my friend. It's much better visibility here.
Good morning.
Thanks.
Excuse me for reading from prepared text. I'm not quite as adept at addressing the parish as Reverend Kathleen. Very grateful to have the opportunity to tell you about our after-school ministry, Paul's Place, which is located right here in the Children's Cottage out back. Our program is a direct beneficiary of Episcopal Charities outreach into the community. For those who don't know us, Paul's Place provides a safe and supportive environment for the underprivileged Haitian American children in our neighborhood. The children come to receive various kinds of academic and social enrichment. Paul's Place provides homework help, access to engaging mentors, supervised recreational activities, art, music, gardening, and access to computers that have internet. We also provide an earned Friday field trip for each student who demonstrates the appropriate behavior and academic performance. The students enjoy a nutritional snack and well-balanced family meal every night. Episcopal Charities first was approached by Reverend Chip Stokes to join in our mission, which began in the fall of 2000. Paul's Place was in need of additional financial support beyond what our church had already committed. In January of 2001, Episcopal Charities announced their first grant to Paul's Place of $6,200, which was to be used to feed our students a snack and evening meal. Each and every year subsequently, they have supported our after-school program, which is now in year 16. As we have grown from 15 students to 30, so has the Episcopal Charities commitment to us. Last year, they announced a grant of $15,000, allowing us to continue to grow and succeed. Grow and succeed we have. We have 16 of our students who have gone on to college. We have established a scholarship fund to ensure that they attain a college degree. And we currently have three college students returning weekly for tutoring and a quiet place to study. Our many younger students look to the older ones as a template for their own future. Episcopal Charities has been a faithful partner in our grace of serving those in need in our community. We have been truly blessed by their firm belief of partnering with and empowering the people of our diocese in answering God's call to respond to human needs. I can attest to you firsthand that we are truly making a difference in the children's lives and in our Delray Beach community. I thank from the bottom of my heart Episcopal Charities and all of you who support their mission. Please come by and visit us any day, any weekday after 2:30. Come see us in action, see what the work of Episcopal Charities and our parish are doing together. Thank you.
We're very grateful for your work too, Miss Kathy. Thank you. So there it is. That's the gospel in action right there. We get the message, and we've acted on the message. We get the message that a little child in our midst is who we are to care for. Sometimes, you wish for a clear message from God. You have that day where you think, God, just tell me what to do. This message is pretty clear. Jesus connects the dots for us. Our actions matter. Our actions make a difference. So, I know you. Thank you for the care of children in your lives. Amen.